This is a demonstration of my intertextuality graph. So it's still a work in progress, but just to show the current functionality as things stand. First of all, I've loaded in the data set that is provided by Vega, that's Vega, and just to experiment with it. Yeah, that's not super interesting. More interesting is the actual intertextuality graph itself. So by default, I've loaded data, just all the connections from the treasury of scripture knowledge using a publicly accessible data set. And by default, it's showing all texts that allude to Genesis 1:1. So right now I'm filtering by book, chapter, and verse, and it's going just a single connection, seeing what's connecting to, yeah, what are the texts that allude to Genesis 1:1, or in treasury of scripture knowledge isn't specific, but yeah, that's the current situation. That's the current setup, and we can change the chapter, and it'll change, you know, the filter, and we see now is everything connecting to Genesis 2:1, Genesis 4:1, and so on and so forth. We can pick any of the book of the Bible. Here's Malachi 1:1. Each book is organized, has a different, its own color. So the colors are set by the book, and if you hover over a given edge, you see the more information about the treasury of scripture knowledge input that was that this is derived from. If you can click on the labels and it just highlights that one. You can click on the edge and you can and yeah, see, just kind of like highlight there. It's not a ton of functionality, but that's just a proof of concept, I guess. Another thing that you can do is add additional edges. So for example, if I want to say that, okay, let's say I believe that here's Genesis 1:1. Let's say I think that John 1:1 alludes to, well, John 1:1 does already, but let's say I thought John 1:2 alludes to Genesis 1:1. So I would say Genesis 1:1, and I'm taking advantage of the Step Bible, which is put out by Tyndall House, and they just have a really easy to use web app that I put in an iframe here. So you see Genesis 1:1. If you wanted to went Genesis 1 through 3, it can do that for you. By default, we're looking at the Hebrew text, Leningrad Codex. You could change that to Septuagint and whatever else you want to here. But yeah, just defaulting to Leningrad Codex for now. And let's say alluding text is John 1:2. Just picking that because we already have John 1:1 and John 1:3, so let's say John 1:2. And okay, looks good. If I like it, I can hit submit. It says successfully connected John 1:1 to 1:3. Genesis 1:1 to 1:3 and John 1:2. And let's check our work. I'm not seeing it yet. So let's oh wait, let's refresh and make sure. There it is. Okay, John 1:2, and we'll double check. Yep, it's Genesis 1:1 to 1:3 and John 1:2. Okay. Ideally, once you submit it, it would refresh, but I still got to work that out. Okay, so that's one functionality, is adding new connections. One feature is being able to add new connections and just instantly seeing whatever text you want to. You could technically add the whole book of Genesis if you want to. Oh, I guess you can't do a whole, but you could do a whole chapter, right? Or you could do Genesis 1 to 3 and say, oh, I think, I think Paul in Romans 5 is alluding to chapters 1 to 3, and you can just make that connection. What it'll do is, just for the sake of the graphic, is it'll summarize a little bit. It won't. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, it won't give you the full reference down here at the bottom. It'll just give you the starting verse. So it should give Genesis 1:1, I believe, but yeah, it's not showing up for now. So anyway, that's the idea. Okay. Yeah, the other feature that I added was just this idea of hops. So let's say you don't want to just see what alludes to Genesis 1:1, but you want to see what alludes to Genesis 1:1. So that would be 2 hops. Okay, so it's getting a lot more complicated. I need to clean up these labels, obviously, but this is passages that allude to Genesis 1. So for example, if we look at this brown one, there's a lot coming in here. It's kind of hard to highlight just that one, unfortunately. Let's see if we can't just grab it. It's kind of hard. It's one of these here in Chronicles. But apparently a whole bunch of passages are alluding to this one in Chronicles, which in turn lead to Genesis 1:1. Or we could say, okay, well let's use a book that's maybe doesn't quite have so many. So in Malachi, okay. So if we were just to look at one hop, we see it's pretty straightforward. We just see these 6 connections. We see 2 hops. We see everything that connected those 6. So again, everything's going to go back to Malachi 1:1, but the question is how. So here's Zechariah as a direct connection, but there's all these passages that allude to Zechariah. So maybe it'll help me kind of build out, the interconnectedness of Scripture. I could go 3 hops. It's getting pretty messy. This might freeze my computer. We'll see. If you do any more than 4, it just gets ridiculous. So, but yeah. So let's just okay. And yeah, that's the idea. It's still a work in progress, but I think it's I'm pretty excited just to see where it'll go from here.